Hello viewers, this is Bruce Dean and I don't know how to start videos. So, lately I've been thinking about the MCU reboot that's set to take place after Secret Wars and how Marvel should implement it. And I've come up with some pitches. Now, obviously there are a lot of other YouTubers who have come up with similar video topics and you should definitely go watch those after you're done with this video of course. But without further ado, here's my pitch for how to handle this reboot. Now, I've heard this is set to be a soft reboot of sorts, as in some things will carry on from the OG MCU into the new MCU rebooted universe. If it were up to me, I'd keep the characters that were established, but anything before Phase 4 would be rebooted and those characters would be recast simply for longevity's sake. Any character that was cast after Phase 4 would stay and the characters would remain established. However, not every project after Phase 4 should remain canon. Keep the good, get rid of the bad. Have an established Avengers and X-Men, recast almost everyone. I would like to specify that this list is only counting projects with characters who did not get introduced until Phase 4 or later, meaning no WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Secret Invasion, Hawkeye, Daredevil Born Again, etc., as they are no longer canon. Although I would keep some of the castings, I'll go further into detail on that later. Let's run through this as quickly as possible. Keep Shang-Chi, keep Moon Knight, although possibly recast depending on if Oscar Isaac decides he wants to come back or not. He recently said he won't work with Disney anymore. I don't really know what's going on with that. I don't really keep myself updated on that kind of thing, as much as I should. Keep Werewolf by Night, and possibly Wonder Man if it ends up being good. Edit, it was amazing. I loved it. Definitely keep Wonder Man. I love that show. Get rid of basically everything else while still keeping some casting. Edit 2, I just remembered that Trevor Slattery is in this show, which means that I guess in this new rebooted universe, at some point he impersonated the Mandarin in this universe as well. I really want this show to take place in the new universe, so yeah. I guess Trevor Slattery impersonated the Mandarin in the new universe. Much like the DCEU, Phases 4 and 5 of the MCU had some amazing castings, but terrible writing choices. The difference is that these castings likely won't age out of the roles before the reboot, like the DCU. So these are the castings that I would keep. Keep Miss Marvel, but give her stretchy powers. I didn't hate the hard light powers, but let's just stick to the source material, please. Keep Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, while also recasting Clint Barton's Hawkeye. There are going to be 2 Hawkeyes. Keep the Fantastic Four cast, but decanonize the movie. The movie was great, but it shouldn't be canon, as it took place in a different universe, and I do think everybody should be native to the new universe. Keep Yolanda. I do think we also need to recast Natasha, but I do think we can have both Black Widows. Keep Sentry. Keep She-Hulk, if she wants to return. I think I heard something about her not wanting to, but I'm not well versed on that sort of behind-the-scenes drama. Keep Red Guardian. Keep American Chavez. I don't really care about the Eternals. Keep him if we want. If not, I don't really care. Or Ironheart. I mean, Ironheart is simply because I never watched her show. Nothing against the character, I just wasn't feeling the show. And while we're at it, keep Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher. But redo the storyline and do him justice this time. And come on, give him his comic accurate look. You can give him a nose, but at least keep the head tendrils, or like his whole look in the comic. I was debating on whether or not to keep Billy and Tommy Maximoff, but in the end decided that they're probably the 2 characters who I don't want right away in the MCU reboot. Simply because I would de-age Wanda and Pietro Maximoff and keep them the teenage children of Magneto. I'll go further into detail on that in an X-Men side of the MCU reboot pitch, if I enjoy making this video enough. And this might be a hot take, but another thing I would do is have multiple projects every year. I know for some reason everyone thinks the problem with Phases 4 and 5 of the MCU was that there were too many projects, but that's really just not at all true. The problem wasn't quantity, it was quantity over quality. I am a firm believer that you can have both. Just put the right writers and directors in charge, and you can have as many projects as you want while keeping good quality. One major thing needed to achieve that, however, is to hire more CGI/special effects artists instead of forcing the exact same team to slave away on every single project with an extreme time limit. This is Disney. It is a billion-dollar corporation with what is almost a monopoly on Hollywood. they can afford to increase the budgets of these projects to increase quality. And quality will make their budget back. After hiring more artists, hire more writers, and pay everyone what they're worth. We don't need any more strikes. If you hire enough people who are good at their jobs, you can put out so many projects that you will have several running simultaneously while still keeping a high quality of work, i.e., release weekly episodes of a Spider-Man TV show on Mondays, a Wolverine show on Tuesdays, a Thor show on Wednesdays, Punisher show on Thursdays, an X-Men show on Fridays, a Captain America show on Saturdays, and a Daredevil show on Sundays, because church. While they're still releasing films in theaters when warranted. Not necessarily those projects in particular, those are just placeholders. If Marvel can regularly release simultaneous comic book projects while keeping a good quality of writing and artwork, they can do it with shows and movies as well. Is it ambitious? Absolutely, but that's what makes it so appealing. Imagine having a good Spider-Man show released during the same week as a good Wolverine show. And yes, I know Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, so it's going to be more difficult to make a show than a movie. But that being said, there are movies set in the MCU, even though Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. So, if they really want extra money, they can make a TV show that's set in the MCU. They're just choosing not to do it for some reason. Or I suppose they could just make an animated Spider-Man show. They did it with My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man set in the MCM. Again, that's Marvel Cinematic Multiverse. Please start saying that instead of MCU when you're not talking about the main MCU timeline. But yeah, if they really want to, they could just make an animated show that's set in the MCU, because apparently they have the rights to that. So, yeah, that's just an easy workaround, you know? And before anyone comments, this is not me asking for Marvel to just push out as much crap as possible. It is me asking them to push out as much good content as possible. There is a difference. Do everything correctly without making dumbass business decisions, cutting corners and whatnot, and it can be achieved. Also, let's not tie this new MCU down like the previous one. We can make more projects like Fantastic Four that don't take place in the main timeline, if the idea is good enough. Which is why I propose that we call this new connected franchise the MCM, for Marvel Cinematic Multiverse. One thing that keeps annoying me is everybody clumping together every Marvel movie and calling them all part of the MCU. MCU stands for Marvel Cinematic Universe. The uni part of the word universe means one, as in one universe, meaning the movies that don't take place in the main timeline are not, by definition, MCU movies. So let's just call it what it is at this point, the MCM. And simply find a way to make it clear that any movies that don't take place in the main timeline are in fact alternative timelines by having text at the beginning of movies designating their universe by number, like how Fantastic Four did it. Sorry. Just a huge pet peeve of mine. I didn't mean to go on a rant like that, sorry about that. A really awesome aspect to rebooting the MCU is the possibility to redo some of the storylines, but in a more comic-accurate manner. For instance, Civil War was basically only the Civil War storyline in name. It'd be nice to see an actual comic-accurate Civil War storyline play out in the MCM. I personally think they could even make it its own saga, with the war/effects of the war spanning over an entire saga of movies. Similarly, they could do the same thing with Secret Invasion. Imagine a Secret Invasion saga that spans over several movies. It has the possibility to be one of the best sagas of movies ever, if done right. Who should be Captain America after the reboot is a topic I'm surprised I haven't seen more people talk about. Technically you could have multiple Captain Americas right off the bat, but I personally would just recast Steve Rogers as Captain America, and then recast Sam Wilson as an established Falcon, but done right this time by giving him an actual costume instead of just a t-shirt and jeans, and by giving him his pet falcon, Red Wing, and a recast Bucky Barnes as an established Winter Soldier. So when I say an established Winter Soldier, what I mean is that Winter Soldier already exists in this universe as an assassin for Hydra. Nobody knows his identity yet, or if he's even real. My point is, Bucky was presumed missing before Cap was frozen. Let's redo the Winter Soldier storyline with the new Cap. We can even have him appear in other projects as a hired assassin before doing the actual storyline where Steve uncovers his identity. And that's it for this video. I'll probably make more videos or pitches for more specific sections of the MCU, i.e. Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Defenders/street level heroes, etc., if I enjoy making this video enough. I already have the Spider-Man script written. And the X-Men script, actually, now that I think about it. With all that being said, I suppose it's time to wish you all a good morning, good evening, or good night. I love you all platonically, except for one of you. You know who you are. Goodbye.